What is going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel for yet another video. In last video we talked a little bit about weightlifting tools and just how to use them, when to use them, and all that good stuff. Today we're actually going to talk about something that's very important and, from what I've seen in the gym, overlooked, not really thought about, and it's range of motion. Like how I normally start all of my videos, I'm not sure if it gets annoying to you guys or not, but seriously, this all comes from my local gym, just things that I'm seeing. And recently, one of the things that I've seen over and over and over again in all range of people, young, old, bigger, smaller, any of that, is range of motion. I see everybody hitting these fast, short reps. And like I said in all my other videos, I'm not sure where it's coming from. I'm not sure why people are doing it like this, but they are. The other day, I literally saw someone on the seated calf machine. So like you sit down and you put those plates and then you just raise your calves like that. He put down 4 or 5 plates. So something like maybe like 270 pounds for his calves. And he literally just did this. And not only did he just slam the weight around, he used his hands. Like normally there's the little, it's almost like a seat platform to keep your legs locked in. And it usually has 2 handles on so you can hold on, which you should never hold on anyway. It's more so that you can pull the weight up if you get stuck at the bottom of the rep. But he was using it and pulling it like this, and the weight is literally just slam, slam, slam. And the worst part about it is this guy's looking around like, hey, check me out. I'm lifting all this weight. Meanwhile, his calves are never gonna grow. They're literally never going to grow like that. So I just thought, let me make a video on range of motion. I really wanna help explain the importance of why you need to be hitting the full range of motion. So the flat out, most simple way to explain it is range of motion is just the full range of the motion. So I like to use curls because everybody does curls. When you're doing a curl, you want to come all the way down and you want to come all the way up. A lot of times you see people do this, kind of like they stop here or whatever. If you want the muscle, and any muscle, to develop fully, you need to give it the full range of motion. Now, a couple years ago, I was also, and I still am, an offender of this when I do bench press. I always forget, you want to go all the way up, and this is another common one. People will do one of these, right? And they're like, yeah dude, I do 225 on the reg. And no you don't, no you don't. Take it from here to here and go all the way. Like just before your elbows lock, because you don't want your elbows locking. But just before they lock, take it all the way out and then bring it down, all the way back down. And then we'll see. I bet your weight will drop significantly. Why? Because now you're using the full range of motion. And the reason it's so important is, especially if you guys want to build muscle, then when you're doing these little rabbit reps, is what I like to call them, you're not going to build the entire complete muscle. You're just going to build little small portions. And that, if you want that to be highlighted, like I said, a really quick test is lay down on the bench press, go as heavy as you can with these little reps. Now, just do 8 reps. I don't want you to gas yourself out. Now, do the same weight for the second set on this and go all the way up just before your elbows lock out and come all the way down. And also, referring back to another video on the negatives or the eccentric part of the movement, don't slam it and use your chest as a springboard. I want you to bring it down slow so that I can really highlight why range of motion is important. When you try that little experiment there, I can almost guarantee you will not be able to do the same 8 reps. And that just highlights why range of motion is important. Now the other thing to talk about for range of motion is, I don't want you guys to do the full range of motion. Like, just to give an example, for squats, like when I say do your full range of motion, not everybody can touch their butt to their heels, myself included. I'm just not that flexible. I'm trying to get there, but that's not where I'm at. And so I'm not telling you, hey, all your exercises, all your movements are garbage if you can't do the entire full range. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying whatever the full range of motion for you is, right? Because fitness is individualized. So whatever your full range is. I don't know what injuries you have. I don't know what you've been through. I don't know the limits of your body. But whatever you can control with a strict, good form, that is your range of motion. And you need to hit the full entirety of it. Now, when I see someone doing calves, like the earlier example, that guy, you can't even like excuse it, if that makes sense, because he had somewhat of a full range, but not really because there was no control. So full range of motion is not just the entire, here's the bottom, all the way up to the top of the movement for calf raises. It's not just that, it's also the control. You need to have control over it. I can curl 135 pounds. Do I have control over it? Probably not, right? So should I use the weight? Probably not. If I can only curl it from here to here or something like that, should I use the weight? Probably not. So it's just important to keep that in mind, guys, when you're doing it. The full range of motion is not only your full range, but also what you can, what you can do correctly. So you don't want to do the full range of motion sloppily. Like if you go down, down, down in your squat and your heels come up, you've already reached your limit. You know what I mean? So keep the full range, but make sure that the movement is strict and your form is on point. So in addition to the muscles being developed properly, fully, which is the biggest thing, it also can help with flexibility and just a little bit, just kind of like those little things, because a lot of jobs, like I mentioned before, are sedentary, right? So we don't get all the way down in a full squat position. We're not kneeling a lot. We're not, we sit in our cars, in our office chairs, on the couch, places like that, but we don't use the full range of motion. It's the same with mostly all of our muscle groups, right? We're not using the full range of motion of our lats or our biceps or our triceps every day. So the gym is really our opportunity to do that, to use the full range of motion, and anything you don't use will be lost, right? So when people get older and they can no longer do the things they used to do, it's not because they're getting older, it's because they stopped doing it. So to give you guys a really quick example for the longevity part of it, my grandmother's about 80 years old, right? And she plays piano at a church. She's always moving because she's always going to church, she's running the choir, she's running around, right? She's always moving around. She's been playing piano for all of her life, but she's always active, right? She's always up and down the stairs. She never stopped. She didn't retire because she loves her job so much. So she didn't retire and sit around like most or anything like that. And so now at this age of 80, she can still move around just like she always could. Others maybe have slowed down. You don't have a job, so you just hang out at home because you're in retirement. So because of that, you sit around a lot, you watch TV, maybe you don't have a hobby, you do things here and there, but my point is you're not as active as you were when you were young, and so you start to lose the functionality of all of your muscles. So that's basically looping back, that's where the range of motion comes in. If you always continue to use these range of motions, even if you don't use them all the time, as long as you use them daily, in things like your workouts is the best way to do it, you will not lose it. The other thing to talk about is, because I'm sure some of you are thinking, well, what about partial reps, right? And everyone wants to know, do I only have to just do full range of motion? No, there is a time and a place for partial reps. I've seen it used very rarely, but there is a time and a place, and I just want to go over that really fast. So the way that bodybuilders use them a lot is kind of as like what I like to call like a finishing move, right? So one thing I used to do way back when is I would do skull crushers laying down. And then I would bring the weight up over my head and I would pump out these kind of like a close grip push-up, when you're trying to hit the tricep like that. It's the same type of concept. I pull the bar up and over and then I finish my triceps off with some quick, partial movements basically. And what it does is it just, after I already crushed them from the skull crushers, I'm just pumping blood into there. And I'm not really worried about the strictness of the form or anything like that. That is when you use partial reps. Another one is, I'm sure you guys have heard, like 21s. So what you do is let's say you have a barbell, you come all the way up. And then you're gonna do 7 like this. So 7 from 90 all the way. And then you're gonna do 7 from the bottom to half. And then you're gonna do 7 full, right? And that's kind of a mixture between the full range of motion and the partial. And what you're doing is, really you're emphasizing the top of the movement, you're emphasizing the bottom of the movement, and you're emphasizing the entire movement. And that is a great one for arms. Now there are several different examples, not gonna go over all of them. The long and short of it is, there is a time and a place for partial reps, but just know that it's used sparingly. I honestly cannot even remember the last time partial reps was programmed in a workout for myself. The last one I honestly remember is the example I gave to you, and that was probably 2-3 years ago. So not something we use all the time. The main way it's used it's for athletes. And I'm sure that none of us, myself included, need it. But the best example I can give you is like a basketball player, for example. So a basketball player wants to work on their jump, right? And I've seen actually a guy in the gym, a guy at my local gym, he's very good at jumping. And I kind of talked to him a little bit about his exercise and what his workouts look like. And so he does squats where he will sit down on like, not a bench, but a little bit higher than that, like a platform. And then he drives up. And the reason is because they want that top to be the strongest. Because when you jump, you're not going all the way butt to the ground and then jumping up. And neither are the basketball players, right? They're just coming down a little and they're springing up. And so that's the part of the movement they're working on. Or I've seen someone do squats where they come down just a little bit and they literally jump off the ground. I think that's super dangerous. I think that the risk reward is definitely not there for it unless you're a super athlete. And then I think, yes, absolutely. If that's what you're working on your jump or something like that, absolutely use the partial reps. And that's where those have their place. And that's gonna be it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to smash that like button. Leave a comment below if you made it this far. Or if you have a question for me, be sure to subscribe if you're watching me on YouTube so you don't miss all of my new upcoming content. And follow if you're watching me on Instagram. I will see you guys in the next one. Some ooh, yeah, like, wait, baby.